Thank you, Dian sir. I feel immense pleasure to introduce, I must say, the finalist of Virtual Conference 2020. Dr. Laxman Gnawali, Professor and Head of Department of Language Education at Kathmandu University, leads EFL teacher education programs in Nepal. An alumnus of Kathmandu University, Nepal, University of Exeter, England, he taught English language at primary, secondary, and tertiary levels before coming to the university to contribute to the field of teacher education and training. He is an acclaimed figure in English language education in Nepal. His national and international contributions include EFL textbooks, articles, and book chapters on language pedagogy and teacher professional development. A University of Exeter alumnus, Dr. Gnawali has a rapture in and outside Nepal for inspiring teachers for professional development through network building. He currently serves NELTA as its Senior Vice President. On behalf of Scholars Association of Nepal, very warm, heartfelt, and hospitable welcome to one of the giants, Dr. Gnawali. Let me welcome participants on Zoom and those who join us on YouTube. Now, I would like to hand over the floor for the most awaited presentation to Professor Dr. Laxman Gnawali.
Okay, thank you, Bangsidhar sir, for your nice words. Thank you, DNG, for the invitation, and everyone.
Is Navaraj.
Is Navaraj, huh? Oh, sorry, Navaraj, yes. Thank you so much. Now, I'm a bit nervous because an international motivator has just spoken to you. And my session is of a different dimension, that is writing and editing. So it will be not perhaps that motivating from that line, from that hard point of view. Maybe we'll move to mind, the brain, to the mind side, the thinking, the intellectual side, because all of you who are present here have to do academic writing every minute, this way or the other. And I thought that maybe completing this session with an academic writing exercise would be a good way to do. And when we discussed the topic on this, academic writing, then I thought, I mean, is it a good way to talk to people about writing? Because writing improves with writing, by writing only. So listening, how people develop their writing. And then I propose for a practical session. So, all the participants, please expect that you'll be writing. If you are comfortable on pen and paper, with pen and paper, please get your notebook and pen ready. If you like pencil, that's okay. But if you are good at typing, then that's fine. Okay. So we'll not do it now. We'll be doing a little bit later. And my session will go like this. I'll set a scene. I'll set a scene about why we write and when we write and all this, and then we will. You will write something, and that writing will be, will be edited by yourself. So that is my idea. Okay. So with this, now I would like to move on. For this, I think I need to share the screen. Yes, I seem to have the permission to share the screen. So here I go. Where is it? Okay, here. Yes, this is my title slide. Yes. Self-editing for minimizing the comments in academic writing. When you write and submit any assignment, I mean, today I've tried to cover many things, but my expectation is that all of you here are either planning to or have already done this published writing, publishing in journals. So from that point of view, I'll be talking. And then because when you write and submit, then whether it's teachers or editors, they send back to you a lot of track sentences, a lot of comments. Then you kind of feel demotivated. Okay, am I that bad? Or okay, can I actually address all these comments and all this? So everybody goes through this stage. Then why that happens and how we can minimize the comments, that is my yes topic. I don't know where I can put it, maybe this side. Okay, yes, yes. So now okay, please do not receive phone calls, and then mute your microphone, so we can move on without any noise disturbance. Yes, now let me begin. I assume that each of you have to undergo these situations, and each of you have to produce sooner or later these products. So now number one is you write and submit because you meet a course requirement. You want to meet a course requirement. I mean, whether it's in bachelor's or master's or MPhil or PhD, every course, there are assignments in paper form, and there are some independent writing where you have to produce a paper, seminar and other things. So you write because you have to maintain, meet course requirement. And next is you will have to meet a degree requirement. Means in order for you to get a degree, you need to produce a dissertation or thesis, or maybe in some cases some research papers. Okay, that also works these days in some programs. So you'll have to write them. You're not unfamiliar with this, and you will do the academic writing because you want to publish in a journal, or you want to publish in a conference proceeding, or you want to produce a book chapter or a book. Okay, so you'll have to write this or the other. Or maybe some of you who are already, in this professional field, you may report a commissioned research. Commissioned research means you submit a proposal, and then you get the project sanctioned, and then you do the research and you submit the research report. So that, there are two types. One is sort of NGO sort of thing, but there are also academic research reports that you submit, even in commission research. So these are roughly the four situations that you have to write. There are only other situations as well. Then what do you produce then? Is you'll be producing book reports or book chapters. You'll be producing translations. You'll be writing essays. You'll be writing, research paper, research article, whatever you call it. You'll be submitting a conference paper. You'll be writing for academic journal. And finally, you also write a dissertation or thesis. For masters and MPhil, we call it dissertation, and for a PhD document, we call it thesis. Okay, but people confuse them, and then they interchange them. Okay, and then now, okay, so now why you might be guessing why the this 1 point is in red color, because that's my focus. You want to publish in the NELT journal or Journal of LSN, Nepalese Linguistics, or you might be planning to publish in the literary studies, a publication of Literary Association of Nepal, or there are other CDC and CD, they also produce. So you might, or you may go out of the country and then publish, because there are so many teacher associations, there are so many publications, so they will definitely take your papers or book chapters. Now, so if you aim, or if we aim to get published, then we need to be familiar with a few things. We will be comfortable if we are familiar with the focus of the journal. Means each journal has a different focus. You know, once what happened, the Rilo, 5 Magdov came to Kathmandu University, and then he was giving us an orientation on how to submit an article to teaching English Teaching Forum that is produced by Department of State. Then he presented, and then one academic was not happy. You know why? Because he looked through the sample journal issues and he did not find research articles there. And he says, oh, if there is no research article, this is not a journal. So he was quarreling. Then it was difficult initially to convince him that the purpose of that journal, English Teaching Forum, is not research. Is not theoretical. It is more of classroom tips. It's more of opinions. It's more of experiences. All that. So you need to find out what the focus of the journal is. Like NELTA journal has got research and non-research but serious academic articles. And ELT Forum, NELTA ELT Forum has got classroom tips sort of. But lately, the focus has been sort of twisted, but now we are bringing it to the track. So classroom tips, so like that. So you can go and then see, write to the editors and find out what their focus is. And they also have submission requirements, means the number of words, and then whether you can write your introduction or not, whether you need to include an abstract, how many words, and how many, what heading levels, which style guidelines, APA, MLA, Harvard, there's so many of them. So you need to know that. And then you also need to find out the peer review policy. Some journals are not peer reviewed. Means you submit the article, your write-up, and they will, they will share among the group of editors, editorial board, and one editor will read it and then give you feedback. And then maybe another editor might read and then give you feedback, but usually one does. Finally, the chief editor will, make sort of comments, and then they may come to you or they may not. So it's not peer reviewed. Peers are the people who are in your own discourse community. So in our case, teaching, academics, or most of us are in English language education. So people in this field are our peers. Peers doesn't mean only being in the same class or in the same organization. Same institutions where you are working, but anyone. Okay, from primary to university level, editors, researchers, all our peers. So, but other journals have got peer review policy, or they also call it blind peer review. Means when you submit a paper, one of the editors will quickly go through and see whether it meets the submission requirements. If it does not, it will just come back to you without any comment. They will say rework and then resubmit. But if they see that, okay, number of words, sections, headings, font and everything, and style guideline, everything is there. So all right, then they will forward it to 2 different, editors. And these editors will receive the copy without your name. And if you have mentioned the name of your institution, they will have been deleted, removed by the editors, and this peer who is doing the peer review will receive the article as it is without knowing who it is from. And then they will make comments, suggestions, any changes, and both will come back to you, and then you'll have to address those comments and then resubmit. Okay, so whether the journal has got policy or not. And next is visibility in our discourse community. Means if a Nepali scholar writes an article and it gets published in a university journal in Bolivia, and nobody from Nepal comes to know about it, you better didn't write it, because you need to be visible. Your writing must be visible in your community. But if you write in a very international one, then it will come to our community anyway. But if you sort of go into a local, publication somewhere, then you better not write. Okay, so see that you are visible through your writing, because writing is to improve your writing, to produce knowledge, but it is also to develop social capital for you, so that you can be part of a bigger community that exists. And if you are into a higher level academics, then impact factor is another thing. So we need to discuss this for another hour, so I'll not focus on this. I'll simply give a very simplistic explanation that the journal articles where you are submitting, how often other people cite from them. If the articles are cited by many, the impact factor goes high. And if they are not cited, the impact factor is low. So the higher, the better. But the problem is, if you look for high impact factor journals, then there is a bad news. There's bad news. The bad news is that only 10% of the submissions are accepted, 90% are rejected. Rejection is not because they are bad, but because there's so much fierce competition. So what you need to do is, you need to find out where you belong, and then maybe you go for impact factor, or you simply go for peer review policy, no impact factor, you decide, okay? But one thing that I have not written here, there are some journals, okay, that are simply making money, okay? They're simply making money. They receive your paper and they will send you information in 3 days, okay? And then they say that, oh, it is good, we'll publish it. And then now wait, and after 1 week they say, okay, well, your paper is about to be published, but we need a publication fee. Now, how much? And they'll write $200. Now, you are a lecturer. You are planning to be assistant professor, okay? And then the university is about to advertise for that position. If one research article is published, you qualify. Now you think, if I publish one, I qualify. The value is $200. If I send, okay, 25,000 rupees, but if it gives me, promotion, then why not spend? I'll rather work. I'll rather moonlight and make that money. Then you pay for it and you get it published, but you'll find out that it is not a good journal. You know what they're called? They are called predatory journals. Predatory journals are journals that are like animals who prey upon other animals, okay? So they and then they do not have print publication, they have an online publication, and they send you send money and they send you the link, and when you go, the journal exists there. But it's sometimes very difficult, very difficult to decide how, whether it is a predatory journal or a valid established journal. So for this, you need to see who the publishers are, who contributes to this journal, and what the impact factor, this registration number, everything, and you decide. So anyway, you decide to submit into some journal. Then I just borrowed the ideas from Elsevier. That is a group of, this publication group. And then when you decide to publish in a journal, then what do? Is you select a journal and you read the aims and scope and author guidelines carefully, okay? I mean, what they give, you decide. And then you prepare the journal article, but with the title and abstract, you make it very impressive so that the first editor in the first glance will keep it, will not reject it. And then they say that because there is so much competition, you need to hire an editing firm that they will do the editing of the main text, list of references, tables, and figures. That's what they are saying. I'll come back to this point a little later. And then you need to develop a cover letter with a manuscript. The paper is called manuscript, and you submit it. And now it goes and it comes back. Then you'll have to address the reviewer comments very carefully. Okay. Now, what if the paper is rejected? If it's rejected, okay. Now there are two possibilities. One, our paper will be rejected. Two, it will not be rejected, but it will come with lots of feedback. Now let us see. If you get it edited by an editing company, perhaps it will not happen. But there are two things. One, getting a professional edit your journal article means that you are not growing professionally by creating your own article, so don't do that. Number two is they charge you heavy fee. So don't be looted by, these many companies there, because this journal is not going to bring you any money. It's simply academic exercise. So my suggestion is, although Elsevier says that, my suggestion is you write, edit, and submit. If it brings you lots of comments, face them. You need to be seasoned by, writing and editing and submitting, getting rejected, and finally knowing the rules of the game, and then, being able to, master them. Okay, that's what you need to do. So what if it's rejected? What if there are too many comments that scare you? So then, what shall we do? Okay, what shall we do if yes? What shall we do so we do not get rejected? In order for us not to be rejected, what shall we do? And what shall we do in order for us not to get discouraging feedback? What do? These are the questions. Okay, all of you, I guess, I believe, not guess, are thinking of this. Your position, you want to get published, but either it will come with the discouraging feedback, or it will be rejected. A few years back, one established professor submitted an article to NELT journal because it is peer reviewed, blind peer reviewed. So 2 reviewers outright rejected, and it was sent back. Then this professor was so angry, then he stopped submitting here. Okay, so now, should we do that? No. Editors have no relation to us. They will do all the dissections possible. Fine. But at the end, they will send you rejection. But what if he had rewritten, resubmitted, or had gone somewhere to prove that his article was not bad, others are publishing it? You need to find out. Sometimes the mood of the editor also matters, So you do that. But here the point is, self-editing is the best way to get less feedback and not to be rejected. Okay, Not to be rejected. So then, how to self-edit is a question, okay? Now, for this, I want you to practice a little bit. I'll not give you too much task, but a little task. Now, find out where your pen and paper is, or if you are willing to type on the laptop, then minimize this window somewhere and then have the word ready. And then you will write for 5 minutes. I'll check the time, okay? 5 minutes. Effects of coronavirus, it could be on anything, okay? You write it, and then I will discuss how to edit it. And at the end of my presentation, you will edit it and see whether your editing skills will help you in the future or not, okay? So with this, now let me time the, yes, let me time the writing practice. So for this, once again, each of you, your time has not started yet, each of you will either handwrite or write on the laptop on the effects of coronavirus for 5 minutes. Better you produce a paragraph. If not, that's fine. But what you do is, this is the first draft that you are doing. First draft is never good. That's the good news, okay? Because it has to be edited. So just write, okay? Don't think. I'm not going to see your draft. Organizers are not going to see. Your other co-audiences, you know, participants of this session are not going to see it. You are simply seeing it. So then just write, keep writing, okay? And then when I say stop, you'll have to stop, okay? I guess you are ready. So now I will now start the timer. Okay, please get ready, create a file, and then Word file, if it is in the computer, and write the topic, effects of coronavirus. And now off you go, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Your time starts now. In 5 minutes, I will say stop. We need it because we need to learn how to edit, and this will be a tool for your editing. So not tool, samples for editing, but you'll not submit, so don't worry, just keep writing. But we'll use it to practice the ideas, techniques of self-editing in a while. Now, just to have a view, I mean, did you produce a paragraph or not? Can you just mention that in yes?
Yes, sir. A short paragraph.
Okay, fine. That's fine. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. All right. Now, now, if you have produced, I mean, you have produced anyway, let us see how to self-edit, okay? How to self-edit. Let me see if there are a short paragraph. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, thank you so much. Now, let me go on. So here, I have 3 sets of, techniques of self-editing. You'll have to use them seriously. But now I'll explain all 3 of them before we do the practice here. One is, you write an essay, you write a paper. Don't self-edit. Now, you take a break. Okay, if you have been able to produce it before deadline, then don't think of it, don't read it for a day. Then what happens when you come back to it, then you feel fresh. It looks new to you. You can position yourself as a stranger, if not a stranger, at least a new person. Okay, so not the one who was already there. Okay, so take a break. And second is, if you have handwritten, type it. If you have typed it, print it. If it is Word version, put it into PDF version. Okay, so what happens is, when you read your own paper in a different format, you see it differently. It helps you to see the lapses. It helps you to see the lapses in the structure and the logical order. Okay. Second is, read in something else. Third is, you sit down and read it aloud. When you read it aloud, then you see where there is a mistake, because grammar doesn't sound all right, word collocation doesn't sound all right. So you'll I mean, the logical flow, your mind will see as you are reading aloud. Okay, so third is, read it aloud. Means write today, the day after you read it, or if you can afford that, maybe tomorrow you read it, but in a different format, but read it aloud. Then what you do, wherever you do not feel comfortable, you don't know whether right or wrong, remove that. Because don't take a chance. Because they have other papers lined up in the publication. But if it is to submit to the tutor, again, the same thing. I mean, why invite more comments there? I mean, okay, so learn this. So remove what you are not certain of. And next is, redundancy is a problem in our writing. Particularly in Nepal, we use the same word, same expression, same ideas repeatedly. So what you do is avoid repetitive phrases. Then if any word is repeated in the same sentence, then find a synonym or remove it, or use a use it in next sentence. Okay, I mean, change the structure. You try use thesaurus to get the list of synonyms, and then you eliminate filler words. Most of us write interesting filler words. I think, according to me. I mean, the whole paper is according to you. The whole paper is what you think. That you don't need to say this. Okay, these kind of filler words, or let us say, in other words, try not to use them. They're just filler words. Like in speaking, I may say, all right, let me, well. So don't use them. And next is, remove weak to be verbs. I would use another word, non-word. Be verbs are non-words. And there is also addition of have, be and have. If you can remove them completely from your writing, remove them, because they do not mean anything. But if you have to use them, there must be a reason why you need that be verb, why you need that have verb. I mean, you can't eliminate 100%. Sometimes the need for a connection, but minimal use, okay? Avoid them. And next is, we Nepalese are very good at, using adjectives, okay? It's a wonderful writing. We don't know what makes something wonderful. I mean, it's okay to make a passing comment when you're talking, but, but in academic writing, there's adjectives that cannot be proven, that cannot be quantified. Avoid them. And you now go back to your Word file and use the tools to find mistakes. For example, for grammar and for spelling errors, there is this spell checker in the Word file. In the internet, there are some tools and technologies that have developed, but if they charge money, don't do that, okay? I mean, use certain tool. And you also fix the style requirements like APA, MLA, Harvard, whatever your university, your tutor requires them, okay? And then final suggestion is, many of you come to the tutor with errors still there, which you know they are errors, but you did not see them. You know why you did not see them? Because you try to see everything in one go. Don't do that. If you edit the article for spellings, only for spellings. If you edit it for articles and then maybe be verbs, or if you're using them, or tenses, only for that. But if you mix everything, like when you're editing, you change ideas as well, you change the spellings as well, and also, you know, words, synonyms, then you will definitely miss out something. So what you do, you separate your editing task. Today, I'm going to check the headings. And next time you say, I'm going to check the spellings. Next, maybe references and citation connection. So you decide, okay? So that is one. And next, maybe use a self-editing tool like this, okay? Like this. I'll give you the address where I found this. Now, this one, I think it's not coming. So let me, I'll have to, okay. Once again, I'll have to stop sharing and then share the screen and this one. And now I think it's visible now. Yes. Okay. It's visible. Do you see self-editing checklist? Do you see?
Yes, sir. It's visible.
Okay, great. Now let me read it. So you have produced your paper or your assignment. Now what do? You develop this. I mean, you get it ready, and then you read it. What I have written fits the assignment, both in terms of content and format. You tick it here. You ask yourself, if not now, check where you can perhaps make changes. My thesis is written in one clear sentence. Here the word thesis is not the dissertation. This thesis is the thesis statement which appears in the beginning of the essay or paper. And then it has to be restated in some way in the conclusion section. So you can, I mean, anyone who reads your paper will be able to see, okay, will be able to spot the thesis of your paper. And I have provided adequate background information for the topic of my paper. I mean, you need to have a strong reason why you have to write it. What's the background? What's the context? Okay. For example, let me say, if you write an article on a crisis ELT, I mean English language teaching in a crisis period, okay, crisis ELT. And now, if you write a paper giving the background of earthquake of 2015, it doesn't sound all right. Now, coronavirus could be one, okay? So you need to have some context, or maybe if it is your professional development stage, that's fine. Or if you heard something somewhere, that's fine, but you need to give a background information. Each of my chunks links back to my thesis in the same way. So every section of your paper, every paragraph of your paper in some way is looking back at the thesis. Every paper, I mean, paragraph is there just to justify, explain, detail the thesis. So think. Next is within each chunk, I introduce, state, support, and discuss. Means every paragraph will have one idea. So that one idea is introduced, stated, supported, discussed. Maybe in some cases, each paragraph may not have that structure. Maybe 3-4 paragraphs may have one section. So let us say, if not paragraph, one section. So that section has got, a good starting and detailing and discussing. And next is, in academic writing, you have to have evidences. So how do you do that? Is you cite, but have you cited from reliable academic resources? You did not fall prey to the predatory journals? Or maybe some beginning scholars may cite in a wrong way, and if you do the secondary citation, then okay, your paper will be invalid. So you need to have very good citation from reliable sources. And next is, when you cite, it's good not to quote directly. If you think that the quotation will be distorted if you paraphrase, all right. But if it is not, then what you do, you paraphrase where possible. And you use APA or whatever style guideline you follow. And then in the conclusion, okay, my conclusion briefly summarizes the information and implies there is still more to talk about. Means in the conclusion or implication or both maybe together, then they must say, or conclusion section must say, this is what I have derived, fine, summary. But you need to also give a way forward that, but this is not the end of the story, okay? So and so implied, okay, implied. So you need to give that open way for further research. And your tone is straightforward, professional. You don't bring in, emotional, impressive, impressionistic kind of language. So be very academic. So this is, second suggestion. Now, third one. Third one is a little broader. First, maybe you can take this. Each section, if you manage, you get a pass. You need 3 passes, One pass is, the first pass is, read for the organization, argument, and logic. Means this is content organization. Whether in the beginning, the development, and then discussion, and then conclusion. So whether it has all that. And whether there is an argument, I always say that when you write a paper, think that you're not writing a book chapter, you must have an argument, okay? You're trying to prove something or disprove something. And what's your logic, all that. And when you've done that, then second pass, you need to see, am I clear? What's my style? Does the paper flow well? Okay. And third pass is now spelling, grammar, punctuation, all that. So this could be another way of doing it. So I've given you, I presented 3 sets. You can follow any, or you can follow all throughout. I mean, in 3 rounds, you can decide. So do this. And now, after this, let us practice a little bit, okay? So for practicing today, due to time limitation, we will do only 2 things. One, we'll edit for redundancy. We'll edit for filler words and weak adjectives. If they are there, we'll remove them. And we'll edit for non-words. Non-words means be verbs and have verbs. We'll omit them, okay? We will omit them. Now for this, I will first give you writing samples, okay? Writing samples. So what we will be doing is, I will give you this these samples. I think you can copy it from. So please do not write in chat box now because it will be buried. So I will now. Yes, I'll now. I paste it here in the chat box. Copy it and paste it in your page. And I have a challenge for you. The challenge is this. The challenge is, can you remove any word without distorting the meaning? any word. Eileen Cantrop, all of you have read this essay, okay? Women's business. Now let us take this challenge. Can we remove any word without losing the meaning? You copy it in your page, but I'll also read from here. So I guess you have copied it. Just copy and paste and let me read. And you tell me, unmute your mic and tell me, sir, this word can be removed without losing the meaning. This is not needed, okay? You tell me and let us see if we agree. Let me read. To transform a home craft into a thriving business, these female capitalists joined a canny sense of women's taste with the audacity of a gambler in creating and marketing innovations designed to shape those tastes. In 1909, Elizabeth Arden introduced her first line of makeup, not then widely considered respectable, as facial treatments. As the beauty market began to expand in the 1920s, she kept several steps ahead of demand, introducing, for example, such exotic and vaguely medicinal concoctions as Sensation Salve, Arden Gland Cream, and the Vienna Youth Mask. Applications of the youth mask constructed of papier-mâché and tinfoil required the customer to be hooked up to a diathermy machine which applied heat via electric current. Arden assured the women who submitted to the treatment and paid dearly for the privilege that they were restoring dead skin tissue. Okay, so that's the paragraph from a book that you teach, most of you. Now tell me any word you can, yes, it's from Women's Business. So can anyone tell the group by unmuting the mic, these words can be removed, still the meaning will be the same?
Excuse me, sir, I would like to try. And
yes.
It says female capitalist and again women's test.
Okay.
Can you remove this female?
Okay, but this is women's business. And she's talking about female capitalists. She's not talking about male capitalists.
And again, female capitalist means join the women's test again.
But women's test is not capitalists. These women are customers. They are different.
Yes, sir.
These Arden and others are female capitalists. But women's test means women, means customers, buyers, consumers, you know.
Okay, sir.
Okay, I'll tell you.
Maybe.
Yes.
So maybe introduced her first line of makeup. So introduce and first mean the same?
No. Introduced the makeup, but first line, she brought out many lines. Okay? Many lines. Yes?
Can we remove the word vaguely? With the word exotic and vaguely medical exotic.
Okay. Such exotic and vaguely medicinal concoctions. You know what? Exotic was, you know, from sort of unknown, but sort of, you know, very complex looking sources the medicines came. But whether they are medicine values or not, it was not proven. That's why it is vaguely. Okay, it's not proven. They did not do any research. Okay. Now, okay, listen. Now listen. I will tell you the story behind this. Eileen Cantrop wrote this essay. She edited it seriously for 7 times. This is the 8th version. So it's a bet if you can remove any word. I mean, playing around you can perhaps do, but lifting the words you can never do. Okay, so because it was edited by the academic whose mother tongue is English, and she's known for writing essays. Okay, now let us see second one. In the second one, Let me, this is from another source. I think I have, yes. That's why, yes, you didn't find flaws. You didn't, there is no flaw, okay? Now, second one is, tell me, yes, tell me if this paragraph has got any adjective that cannot be quantified, and do you see any is, am, are, was, were, has, have without a proper meaning? Okay, let me read. Change disturbs the change disturbs the framework by which we make sense of our lives, and our natural reaction is to resist. So there is one is. Let us see whether we can remove this. On an individual level, change generates the problem of integrating new ideas or actions into our existing network of key meanings. The process of accommodation is slow, often contradictory, and can only be achieved by the individual concerned. Change also threatens group norms. People fear isolation from their groups, and so will resist straying too far from the group norm, even at the cost of their own individual feelings. Lastly, in any social activity, such as education, there will be differing perceptions of the need for and the nature of any change. All right. So if you can say, I mean, let us do this. So is there any adjective that is vague, generic, impressionistic, or there is something that can be proven? And then do you see any be verbs we can remove, or they are justifiably used? I mean, it's not that you should remove them 100%, but if they are justifiably used, that's fine.
Sir,
So, yes, any comments?
Sir, what about can only be on the fourth line?
What did you say? Which line? 1, 2, 3, 4. Can
The
only
fourth
be.
line can only be.
You don't need it.
The process of accommodation is slow, often contradictory, and can be, or maybe we can replace that by a word and then directly say instead
Can
of
you
being
can you reread your version then? Let us see. So this is the.
sir,
we can remove only, but we cannot remove the B verb.
See, well written, well edited articles have this compactness. They undergo a lot of editing. But this is possible only when the writer himself or herself edits to the point that editors can find a little things to fix only. Okay. So again, this is from the teacher trainer from Pilgrim's publication. So you may rewrite it in a different way, but as it is, I don't think you can remove any word.
Sir,
Yes.
the word change has been repeated. The word change has been repeated.
Okay. Yes, it's yes, but the problem is the theme of the paper, the title is change management, and change itself. I mean, there's no other word, other expression that is possible. But let us see. First sentence, change. Second sentence, change. Okay, and then fourth sentence, change. And then, okay, finally change, yes. But now let us take this challenge. You take it home and can you rewrite it without using the word change where it is used by pronoun, by its synonym, or tweaking it that it doesn't need to be written? You try it, okay? But I guess it will not be that easy.
Sir, But at least we can add the article the before change.
Okay,
It
but
is repeated.
yes, but the article can be used only when we are referring to one particular change, but here the change is discussed as concept, which is not particular. Okay, all right. Now, let us do the third one. The third one is this. This is another one. I will not tell you the. I'll not tell you the source. So please tell me where you can. Okay. Where you can. I mean, title repetition. No, the concept is change, so it is there, and then plus the word change is very difficult to have another word. So there are some limitations in the language. Okay, the suggestions I gave may not apply everywhere in every word. But anyway, yes. Now, can you try the last example by? Yes, Gokul.
So can we delete this word in the second paragraph, fifth line?
Which one? Which one?
People fear isolation from their groups, and so will resist straying too far from the group. Can we delete the word "so"? It will become meaningful.
Let me. People fear isolation from their groups.
And will resist straying too far from the groups.
And resist only?
Yes, will resist.
Maybe. Okay, that will be one way of doing it.
Can I comment on that? Laxman sir, can I comment on that?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Although the word "so" seems to be very simple there, if you remove "so," we will have people have problems with removing "will." So therefore, "so" is not erasable.
Yeah. Plus, here the word "so," as Gokul says, is in a pivotal role to show that it's not automatic that they fear isolation and they resist. It's not automatic. It is cause and effect. They fear isolation, so they resist straying too far from the group norm. Okay, so it's not that easy. All right. Now I've sent you the last one. Now try this time. What you do three things. Remove is, am, are, has, have, was, were. Remove any adjective. You can just use a highlighter or something, and then tell me which words can be lifted without losing the meaning. Maybe let me read out, and at the same time you can read in your paper, sorry, in your page. There is a need of bottom-up teacher development approach where an individual teacher can develop based up on their needs and resources. One should be encouraged to change, as Brookfield 1986, adult development is voluntarily. No one can force a person to learn and grow. Each teacher is unique in important ways. It is impossible to create single, centrally administered and planned programs of professional development that meet everyone's needs and desires. Thus, it is time to redefine teacher development focusing on individual social, cultural, and economic realities. So I argue for the bottom-up teacher development where each individual will have a space to plan and grow based on their realities. Okay, come on, try. So be verbs, I mean non-words. Okay, non-words, weak adjectives, any word that you can remove, or maybe if there is something missing, if words are missing, you can also suggest. Okay, come on.
One should be encouraged to change as
Shankarji, yes, the individual concerned. Yes, I mean, please rewrite in your page, and once everybody has done that, we'll see. Okay.
Can I contribute?
Yes.
Is it possible that we can remove in important ways on the fourth line?
Okay. Okay. All right.
Like no one can force a person to learn and grow. Each teacher is unique. So when you say each teacher is unique, I don't think you need to further elaborate or explain anything about the quality
Okay.
of the teacher.
Okay. And here somebody has says their realities and their own realities. Okay, maybe. Difference is their own, means nobody else's. Okay. Theirs, what's theirs? There is, theirs. Okay. You know, for example, you could say this: a bottom-up teacher development approach allows an individual teacher to develop based on their needs and resources. Okay. Yes. So it can be rewritten. So this be verb can be removed. And then another is should be. You know, my teacher in the UK used to say, should and must is a South Asian problem. Yeso garna parcha, uso garna parcha. I mean, the parcha bhaन्छौँ. त्यसैले my suggestion is don't. I mean, I wouldn't say don't, but try not to use must and should. As Brookfield 1986 proposes or suggests adult development voluntary. So maybe you can remove the second one. I don't know. Okay, according to Brookfield, yes. Yeah, you can just write according to Brookfield and that's it. Yes. Okay, now let me stop sharing the screen maybe for a while. Okay, so where were we? We were here. Okay, just a minute. So you did this and did this and then you did. So writing samples, you were there. These are the references. Now I will go back and then I will stop sharing.